anybody joins me tonight, I'm just going to be up late, and I thought I would work on the hand mold that Jim and I did for our 40th. And this is a Luna Bean hand mold kit. And I just thought, since I'm up late and I'm going to be cleaning up, we had some air bubbles in our plaster of Paris when we put our hands in. So I've got some little bubbles there to clean up, but you can see the detail is amazing. Look at the detail in that. You can even see the wrinkles in our skin. So I just thought I would sit up and work on this a little bit tonight. Why not go live while I'm waiting for a video to edit? So I'm actually going to tilt the camera down. I won't be doing a lot of talking. I don't expect people to really tune in. It's midnight here. But some people might want to watch. So I thought I would come on. So I'm going to bring this camera down. I'm just going to work on the process of cleaning this up a little bit. It's just going to be a matter of filing these little air bubbles down. I have a little piece of sandpaper that was included in our kit. And it's a tedious, I've already cleaned this hand up really, really well. I just have to work on my hand, which has a lot more bubbles than Papa Jim's did. So we did this on September 26th, 2021. And we actually got together on September 26th, 1981. And we were going on a field trip for FFA. And let's see, do I have a comment? I can't see. Hi, Hookah Homestead. I'm up late. I see you are as well. My husband and I did this hand cast. It's very, very detailed. But we had some air bubbles in our form. So I'm just working on cleaning this up. And I figured since I was up late at night, I would just go live. While I'm cleaning this up, I'm editing a video. And in order for me to have the camera down here, I can't see the chat. So hang out as long as you like. Gosh, I guess I could get my phone and see the chat. Let's see if I can see the chat on my phone. Oh, look, there I am. Thank you, Huga. It is really cool. It's a pretty neat process. First thing we did was we used one of the, we used the bucket that the kit came in, and we actually made this, there was this pink, I don't know, there was a dry ingredient that you used a wet ingredient with, and it made this pink sludge. And we had practiced ahead of time how we were going to hold our hands. And look, the detail you can even see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can even see my husband's wedding ring right there. We practiced how we were going to hold hands. And after the pink solution sets up into a really thick, kind of like a, I don't know, like a foamy gel, we stuck our hands down in there, and we had to hold our hands down in there. I don't know. I don't remember. It'll be in the video. 15, 20 minutes, something like that. and we had to hold as still as we could. And then once that formed up and actually completely encapsulated around our hands, then we took our hands out very carefully, and it left this hole in the bucket, right? Then we mixed up plaster of Paris, and we poured it into that hole, and we let that sit up for, I think we let it set for 3 or 4 hours. And then we dumped everything out of the bucket, and we had to peel all of that pink foam, which had then turned white. We had to peel all of that away. And when we were done, we had this perfect cast of our hands. And so I thought it was really neat to do that for our 40th. It's not our 40th wedding anniversary, but it was the anniversary of the day that we actually got together. The day that he asked me to go with him. And I said, where? I didn't know what he was talking about. I was only 14. But he told everybody on that day that he was going to marry me. And here we are 40 years later, sticking our hands in a bunch of pink goo to make a hand cast. So I'm editing a video, some sweet pepper jelly, sweet and spicy pepper jelly actually. And I figured while it was editing, I might as well come on here and work on this hand cast a little bit. And you know, some people watch just about anything. I saw the other day somebody went live just to clean their bathroom. People were watching. And I thought, well, if people will watch other people clean their bathrooms, maybe somebody will watch me clean up this deal here. Got 2 people. Who else do I have? Oh, who else do I have in here? I have me, because I opened it up on my phone. Got all excited. It's like, oh, there's 2 people now. No, one of them's my phone. I'm a dork. It's late. But I hope to get this cleaned up. I have to decide if I want to keep this in the natural plaster of Paris state like this, or if I want to paint it. And I thought, I need to look to see, I don't know, we've already had our silver wedding anniversary. Been married 38 years. I need to see for 40, what is the color? Like silver's 25, gold is 50. I wonder if I should find a really cool paint or take it up to a pottery shop and maybe paint it and see if they'll glaze it and put it in the oven. Maybe do that. I don't know. But this is painstaking work right here, just getting rid of all of these little stinking air bubbles. I don't know what we did wrong to get so many air bubbles in our initial mixture. But I want to clean this up because I want it to look as nice as I can get it to look. Hi there. What in the world am I doing up enjoying this? Oh, can you remind me your name, sweetie? I know I want to call you Kay, but I know now it doesn't start with a K, and I can't remember off the top of my tiny little brain. Can you guys see it in the picture okay? You're just getting here. I'm going to call you Kay until you call me something else. Huga, do you have to paint it to preserve it? No, you don't. You can put just a clear glaze over it, though, if you want to preserve it longer. I think once it is set, it's set pretty well. I'm not putting it outside or anything. This is going to go in our bedroom. It's going to go up on our wardrobe. That's my dog making noises, not me. I want to set this in our bedroom up on the wardrobe so I don't have to paint it. I could put like a Mod Podge coating on it if I wanted to. And I could even do that in a mat if I wanted to. But Kay, you're just getting here, so I'll show you when we did this hand casting, my husband and I, to celebrate being together 40 years. I got a bunch of little bubbles in my hand casting medium that we used. So I'm just cleaning this up a little bit, and then I'm going to decide what I want to do with it. You can see it really well. Good. Most folks call me the wifey or Corey Marie. Oh, I like that. I will remember the wifey, and I'm going to do my best to try to remember Corey Marie. Okay? You can call me Alicia or Country Mama. But I was just sharing that I'm doing a video. I'm editing right now a video for sweet pepper jelly. And I thought, well, I'm just sitting here because it takes forever for it to render. I thought, I've been putting this off. I need to get this cleaned up a little bit so I can get the video up. We recorded this 2 months ago almost. And I've been hesitant to render the video for that and edit it because I didn't have a finished product to put at the end. So once I get this all cleaned up, then I'm going to put it there. Hello, Monica. I'm up late and I'm working on my hand casting that I did with Papa Jim for our 40th. Isn't that pretty? So we did this to celebrate our 40th, not our 40th wedding anniversary. I was telling everybody earlier. It's our 40th year together. It's when he sat on the bus with me. And I was sharing earlier, he told everybody on the bus, he said, I'm going to marry this girl. This is after we spent all day together at the fair. We were at the LA County Fair at an FFA competition. And we were actually both in FFA, but like from rival schools. So that made it a little difficult. But we were from rival schools, but we shared a bus that day to go to this FFA competition at the LA County Fair. And he sat with me on the bus, and we spent all day together. And he kissed me as we stood at the goat milk stand. I mean, gosh, if that's not a country song, I don't know what is. So we got back on the bus after spending the day together, completely Twitter-baited. Well, my nail polish, I do need to put a new set on, Monica. You should tell me what set I should do next, because this was for some fall festive stuff. But that's my color street. So I love them. Maybe I'll do a live showing you guys how easy it is to put the color street on too. Because I need to decide what I'm going to do with my color street. If I'm going to continue on or do something else. I love it, love it, love it. But ever since the whole cinnamon vanilla thing that's kept us from having events to go to, like vendor shows, I've kind of, my sales have slipped. Turkeys or that pretty brown. I just got something in the mail today, and I don't know. I got Color Street in the mail. I don't know what set I ordered last. If I've got the brownie points one, maybe I'll put the brownie points on. I think I have turkeys upstairs. You know what? That's what I'll do. I think I have a set upstairs that has turkeys on it. You guys see that's getting a little bit better. Some of the bumps are coming down a little bit, but I don't want to sand my fingers off too much. My hand got it worse than Jim's did. But as I said earlier, if I bring this around without breaking it, I mean, you guys can see the detail. You can see the wrinkles in the skin. You see that? And Jim's wedding ring and his fingernails. I mean, you can see so much detail. This was a pretty neat thing. Hey, Big Matt, how you doing? Brownie points sold out. It's possible. But once they sell out, they will possibly, some of them they'll bring back. Married for 21, but together 29. No goat stand kisses though, huh? The wifey? Everybody's got their own place. I can't expect everybody to be at a goat stand. But we got on the bus and he told everybody he was going to marry me. And everybody just laughed. I mean, I was only 14. He was barely 16. Everybody laughed at us. And somebody said, "How are you going to marry her? You're not even going with her." And it was like this really long, awkward silence. Awkward silence. And after about 5 minutes, he just kind of turned to me and he says, "Well, do you want to go with me?" I just looked at him with these big doe eyes and I said, "Where? Where are we going?" Oh, he was so embarrassed. He just turned away, didn't even look at me. I'm like, "God, what'd I do now?" He says, "No, do you want to go out with me? Be my girl?" I said, "Yes." And everybody was like, "We give it 2 weeks. We don't even give you guys 2 weeks. Buff out your wrinkles." The men don't mind their wrinkles so much. I don't mind the wrinkles. I'm proud of my wrinkles. I'm a cancer survivor. So my phone's going to die, so I'm not going to be able to read comments. I'm a cancer survivor, so I like to remind myself that age is something that is denied many. I'm going to plug my phone in and it's going to make me interrupt. Hello, everybody. It's going to want to try to download pictures, so I'm going to try to catch it before it tries downloading pictures. There it is. And I will X out of that so I can come back to you guys. Back to my lovely, don't I look great? Age is something that is denied many. And so I don't mind the wrinkles. I'm leaving the wrinkles as much as I can. It's these darn bubbles. So when we mixed the pink powder with the distilled water to make the mold for our hands, for some reason, and we didn't mix it vigorously, we mixed it according to the directions, but I must have done something wrong because we have it made a bunch of air bubbles. And so with the air bubbles, then it filled in with plaster of Paris, and the air bubbles do. So I'm just trying to get all of these bubbles on here because you know what? After I'm gone, if one of my kids hang on to this, my grandkids and my great-grandkids are going to say, "Oh my gosh, Grandma had terrible warts all over her hands. What was that about?" So I'm just trying to clean up the warts that aren't really warts. Oh, hey Tim, Tiny Tim Posey. Hey, how you doing? Thank you, Monica. Oh, I'm a warrior. I didn't have much of a choice, did I? But you know what? I'm proud of it. I did good. I love when you say that about age. It's so true and almost makes me cry. I've heard you say that before, and it gets me in the feels. Oh, Monica, you've had a pretty emotional week. I don't want to add to that, but it's true. You know, you guys can probably see I've got this tattoo on here on my arm. And when I was done with my cancer treatment, I had to wait several months before I could go get this tattoo. And I really just wanted to get a really simple little, it was just going to be a little feather. And I'm sure you guys have seen them before, the feather that kind of, it breaks away into birds flying off of the feather. And it has a little cancer awareness ribbon. And it'll say hope or something. And it's really tiny and dainty and beautiful. And so I went to go get that. I was just going to get this tiny little feather with the word hope and the little ribbon. And so I went up, I had my appointment, and I sat in the chair, and the tattoo artist asked me to tell him about the story of why I wanted to get a tattoo. And I'm glad that he did, because I have the belief And not everybody agrees with me, but I know that my father probably would have been really disappointed to see that I got this tattoo. He cried and cried and cried when I was 12 years old when I got my ears pierced. But I think a tattoo should tell a story. And so I told him my story, and then I showed him the tattoo I wanted. And he said, "Nope, not going to happen." I was like, "What?" They'll have this video so they'll know it's not works. That's true. That's true. He says, "We're going to do something different." And while he was doing stuff, getting things ready for what he had in mind, he directed me on this. And I'm glad he did. I was looking through a book and he had watercolors done. And watercolors is a different technique when you have a tattoo. And it's basically, they go into your skin with the needles first with just water, and it kind of opens your skin up. And then they do these colors so they look like flowing water color on your arm. And he said, "First of all, we're going to get rid of that word hope. You had your hope, that's great, but now you're a warrior." He goes, "We're going to change that for the word warrior." And I was like, "Yes, I love that. That's pretty cool." And he says, "We're not going to have all this dainty stuff." I said, "Dainty little things don't come through what you went through." He goes, "We're going to bold that up because you're bold and you're fierce." And so the writing on my arm, if you can see it, let's see up here, it says warrior right there. That is in a 1942 typewriter font. And so it's bold. And he says, "And we're going to get rid of this little feather." And he just started pulling all these colors out and stuff. And I told him, if I'm not going to have the feather with the little birds flying away, I said, I really want butterflies, because butterflies, they're significant of a cancer journey. So he made up all of these butterflies, and they're all throughout the tattoo. And so basically what this is, if I can move my hands out of the way and not drop them on the floor and break them, because wouldn't that be tragic? Wouldn't that be tragic? This is my ovarian cancer ribbon right here, and that is in teal. The color for breast cancer is pink, but for ovarian cancer, it's teal. So my ribbon starts here, and it comes around, and it says warrior in that typewriter font, and it's upside down for you, I know. And then it comes around, and as it comes around, it turns into, what happened? Oh, there it is. It turns into the feather from an angel's wing, okay? So this is the feather from an angel's wing, and that feather is spilling out all of the colors for all cancers. There's, pink for breast cancer, and there's gold for children's cancer, and purple represents all cancers. There's all these colors spilling out of this angel's wing, the feather from the angel's wing. And then the ribbon continues all the way down to the very tip of my finger right here. And then all throughout, there's all these butterflies. But if you notice, the butterflies are not colored in, right? They're blank. My butterflies are blank. And that represents the women that I met in my journey that also had ovarian cancer, and they lost their battle. I don't want to say lost their battle. They were warriors, but they gained their teal wings, is what we say in the ovarian cancer community. They gained their teal wings, and they've gone on to heaven. And their stories weren't done. They were taken too soon, and their stories here weren't done. And that's why they're not colored. They were incomplete. Not incomplete in the eyes of the Lord, but incomplete here on earth. They didn't get to finish their story. So they're represented on my hand and on my arm, but they're not colored. They're blank. So I didn't know about that tattoo when I said that a minute ago. Isn't that interesting? You said warrior and you didn't even know it was tattooed on my arm. It's amazing. So anyways, this took 12 hours. I was in the chair 12 hours getting this tattoo straight. It was not done in sessions, 12 hours straight. And every once in a while, the guy would stop and say, "Are you okay?" Because if it would get pretty dicey, I would do Lamaze breathing. And it's like, I'm fine. You know, I just told you everything I've been through for my cancer treatment, and my surgeries and stuff. I can handle this tattoo. I'm fine. So, ooh, there's a bunch of dust. Ooh, 12 hours. And when I got home, Papa Jim was already in bed. Really, this has a connection to what was said earlier. And I woke my husband up, and he's expecting me to come home with this little tattoo, right? Oh, keeping in mind that I had the money for a little tattoo. I did not have the money for this big thing that I ended up paying for. But he looked at it and he says, "Wow." And he innocently said, "What do you think how do you think you're going to feel about that tattoo when you're an old lady?" And it just sucked the wind right out of my chest. And in the dark, I teared up. He didn't see it, and he was half asleep. And I said, if I get to live to be an old lady and have this tattoo, I'm going to rock it. I'm going to rock it. I want to be an old lady rocking this weird tattoo, because in my support groups for ovarian cancer, I would say one of our members probably die every 2 or 3 days. Ovarian cancer is not pretty. They don't get to be an old lady. So I hope I get to be an old lady and rock this tattoo. Beautiful spirit. Thank you, Monica. I feel the same about you. I was really feeling for you yesterday when you were tearing up over on Veterans Day. That really got to me. I felt so much for you. And I love that you are an empath and wear that on your sleeve like that. It's a beautiful thing to share emotions. I'm glad you don't keep it in. Lamaze breathing is good for so many things in life. It is. It is. The depth of your tattoos is intriguing. In here thinking, oh, look at the pretty pictures, sounding like a baby, just clueless until now. Oh, wifey, that's okay. But you know, I think anytime you see somebody now with a tattoo, don't just look at the fact that they got inked. Ask them what their story is. There's almost always a story behind a tattoo, always. But not always. Not always. Most times. I used to work with a lady, and on her forearm right here, she had a big, huge housefly. It was just the ugly. I thought it was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Big, huge horsefly. And since I thought it should have a story, I said to her one day, I said, "What's the story behind your tattoo? It's so interesting." So interesting. What's the story behind that? She goes, "Oh, nothing. I just like art." I'm like, okay. You're going your whole life with a big old fly on your arm. I hope you have a long sleeve wedding dress when you get married, because I wouldn't want that but maybe she wants it in her pictures. You know, if she would have said, "Oh, I'm really a fan of the movie The Fly. I love Jeff Goldblum." Anything. Nope. Biddy Boo. Hey, Dana, how are you? I'm glad you're here. Your tats have stories. That's wonderful. I'd love to hear it. I want to hear about them your next live when I go on. Sometimes we don't know the impact of our words. I'm missing the context in that, Monica. Is that a good thing, or are we talking about the warrior thing, which is so awesome? Boy, this dust is making me cough. We never know people unless we ask. Yes, most people today don't actually want to know others, though. So sad how disconnected we are from one another. That's true. And if that's what your earlier comment is relating to, absolutely agree. I'll remind you, Dana. Oh, you're talking about when Jim said that about being older. Yeah. Yeah, he didn't even, I think he was more concerned about me possibly regretting it later and not understanding that, because I don't tell him. I don't tell him about a lot of the things that happen in my support groups. You know, it's hard for him to come home and have me say, oh, so and so died today, and my friend so and so died today, because as much as we have a community here on YouTube, on Facebook there's communities as well, and I belonged to 2 or 3 support groups for ovarian cancer. And actually, I still belong to them, but I'm not active in them anymore because it became just too overbearing for me. It's hard to move forward and try to celebrate the chance of a second chance in life when every other day somebody says, oh, so and so gained their wings last night, and there's so much sadness around it. So I actually started a group on Facebook for ovarian cancer survivors, and it's called Life After Ovarian Cancer, and it's reclaiming health and happiness. So the women can join that group when they're done with treatment, and because I don't want anybody talking about treatment or diagnosis or death. We just talk about what we're doing after we've been diagnosed with ovarian cancer so we can move forward, because it's very easy, and I was guilty of it. It's very easy to get stuck in a pattern of just sitting around waiting for the shoe to fall, because ovarian cancer has a very high recurrence rate. So the chances of it returning are very high. So you just kind of sit there and you wait for it to come back, you wait for your turn. And that's the mindset you start taking when you're in these groups, because that's what that's the experience of everybody there. Either they succumb to it during their treatment, or it comes back and it gets them. And so you're just sitting there waiting. And I did that for about 2 years. Sat right here where I'm sitting today doing this with you. And I just waited every day, every little pain in my tummy, any little time I felt nauseated, I thought, that's it. Let's see, what did I miss? Wifey says, that's usually my discovery, is that there are stories behind the pretty pictures, even when they are housefly horrors. She probably didn't want to admit the true story. She lost a bet. That's true. Oh, that's funny. If anybody ever watches Impractical Jokers, they lost a bet one time and had to get tattoos. It was hysterical. Monica says, get to bed. Oh, gotta get to bed. I thought you were telling me to go to bed, Monica. Gotta get to bed. Love chatting with you and hearing your voice. Have a beautiful night. Chat soon. Good night, Monica. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate it. Dana, I finally figured out what you are sanding. I've been sitting here trying to figure out what that was. Then you turned it in its hands. Yeah, Dana, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that when you came in, you hadn't heard what I was doing, but this is my hand, and this is my husband's hand. And to celebrate being together 40 years, we did this hand cast on the 26th of September, 2021. And the day that he asked me to marry him and actually even just be his girlfriend, he did it all on the same day. He did it backwards. Was September 21, 1981. So we've been together 40 years. He was my first boyfriend. I was 14 years old. And so for our 40th, I ordered this months before. I wanted to have it ready. And what everybody probably didn't realize, even Papa Jim, was when we did this, I've been sick. I've been sick. And we're talking about this recurrence of ovarian cancer. And for a couple months now, I was afraid it had indeed come back because I've been sick. So I just found out last week, though, that my cancer numbers are good. They are a little elevated, but we're not going to worry about it right now because inflammation can cause my numbers to go up. But I am a full-fledged diabetic now. My A1C was 13, and my average, you can take my blood sugar, and I'm like in the 300s. So I was diabetic and didn't know it. And so in the course of about 9 weeks, I lost about 30 pounds without trying. And I started sleeping all day. And sleeping and losing weight, that's kind of one of the symptoms that I need to watch for this coming back. So when I took this, I was really holding my emotions in because I thought if it was the cancer, and it does take me this time, this is what my husband would have of me, is my hand. So, but thankfully, it's not the cancer. It is the diabetes, and that's something I can control. I can get an upper hand on it. I'm going to try to do it without going on insulin. So I'm taking my medication like a good girl, and I'm monitoring and changing my diet like a good girl. And this morning my numbers were a little high, but yesterday my number was 210 when I woke up in the morning. So when I first took I put a video out of my very first ever blood test where I had to prick my finger. And that morning it was 312. So in 1 week I've gone from, 312 down to about 210. So my numbers are going in the right direction. And I just need to continue doing that. But at the time that I did this hand cast, I didn't know that's what it was, and I was fearful. But thank God, we're just dealing with something else. That ovarian cancer can just stay away. He has huge hands. You know what they say about men with huge hands, Dana? Do you? Dana, do you know what they say about men with huge hands? They have huge gloves. I tricked you. I know what you thought I was going to say. Speaking of experiences, how is it going with beating the blood sugar battles? Hope it's managing well. And Dana, it's okay. I'm just gonna tackle this little diabetes thing like know what I'm doing. I will admit my vision's gotten bad though in the last couple of months. I'm wearing these glasses to see this even, and it's blurry. I think the blood sugars are going well. I'm taking metformin. I'm not on insulin. I do have another medication that I need to pick up at the pharmacy, but I declined it. I did not grab it because, my goodness, it was for 30 pills for a 1 month supply was $600. And that's with my insurance. And there are plenty of diabetic medications out there. I'm sure they can find me one that's not $600. Same with men with big feet. They have big shoes. You know it. That is true. I was leaning in to hear what they say about with large hands. Oh, I love me some good innuendo jokes. I do. So Dana, what I'm doing with this is when we made the cast, there were some air bubbles in the casting medium that we used. And so there were little bumps all over our fingers, and I'm just trying to clean it up a little bit I've got a video that I'm going to be editing to show this process, how it was done. And I didn't want to put the video up without showing a finished product, you know? So this just needs a little bit of cleanup. And so I thought I would just come on live since I'm up and do a little cleanup on this because I'm editing a video for sweet pepper jelly. Let's see. Go to Mexico and you could probably get it for $1 a pill, right? Oh, don't get me started. Probably say something that'll get me in trouble. I've got to call into the doctor and hopefully she will find something else. I've discussed it with another friend of mine who's a doctor, and she's made a couple of recommendations. But the issue with the medication that she's recommended is there's a possibility your sugar is dropping too low. Certainly don't want to, go into a diabetic coma or anything. So, but if I'm averaging, well over 200 now, I don't see why I can't go on it for a little while and see if I can start maintaining and bringing those numbers down and then back off that second medication so I don't get too low. But I don't know. I don't know enough about it all. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it as I go. But I've been on like Atkins before and some keto stuff before. So I shouldn't have a problem eliminating some of the carbs. But you know what's hard for me? I'm a vegetarian. So a lot of my meals have potatoes or pasta or things I can't have. But you know what? I know the wifey, she's got lots of plant-based ideas that I'm going to get from her. And of course, I know I can go get my spaghetti squash. I love spaghetti squash. But you know what? I just got a whole bunch of my favorite pasta that is almost impossible to find. There's 2 types of pasta right now that are impossible to find in some areas. One of them is the Barilla manicotti shells, or, the manicotti tubes. So I got those. I got like a case of them. And then the other one is the little cremette rings that I use to make my pasta salad, like my macaroni salad in the summertime. So I'm sitting on like 2 cases of those. And so, I'll still make it for the rest of the family, but I'm going to have to be very careful what I eat. I might be able to enjoy just a little bit of it, but there's nothing I love more than going to a, barbecue or having a barbecue here at the house in my summer kitchen and loading up my potato with baked beans, potato salad, and macaroni salad. Because everybody else, they're eating the barbecue stuff, I'm not eating the meat, so I load up on the sides. But I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. Let's see what we got here. Bitty Boo understands. It would be worth the trip, though. Yeah. Oh, Tiny Tim, you have big hands and big feet. Oh, my gosh. 17.4E. 39-inch sleeve length. 8.5-inch hat size. I know the fun of finding big clothes, and I'm 6 foot 6 inches tall. Oh, Tiny Tim. No wonder we call you Tiny Tim. You sound like one of my boys. I'm only 5'2", 5'3", but all my boys are like 6 foot. They're all tall. Got me some tall, big boys. I have 4 sons, all of them tall, big. Matter of fact, one of my boys, he looks like he just stepped off of the brawny towels. Let's see. I watch the YouTube channel Physicians Committee to stay up to date on reversing chronic illnesses, including the big C, diabetes, etc. 30-ish minute live stream that helped with food and nutrition. Oh, that's awesome. I'm going to keep that one in mind, wifey. See, I told you I wouldn't be able to remember the other thing. I'm just going to go with wifey. But you know what? I think Papa Jim's hand looks really good. I'm looking a little bit like the Elephant Man over here with my fingers all squished together. His hand's nice and relaxed, and I'm like, ah. Oh my goodness. But you know what? At least he's hanging on for dear life, right? He's holding on tight. Papa Jim has a tattoo. Since we were talking about stories about tattoos, he has a tattoo and it's on the nape of his neck, but below it's like across his shoulders. Let's say across his shoulders. That sounds better. And it's back when tribals were pretty popular. And it's like two bands of barbed wire and they twist. They twist and turn. And where they twist and there's a gap, my name is in the middle of it. And when his sister saw that tattoo, she got really, really offended. And she said, I don't like that. And he said, we were both like astonished. And we're like, why? Why don't you like that? And she says, I don't like how you're keeping her imprisoned behind the barbed wire. And it just kind of stymied him for a second. He says, well, no. He says, it's not that she's stuck behind the barbed wire and I'm keeping her prisoner. He says, I'm the barbed wire and I'm protecting her. I'm protecting her from the outer elements. I'm the barbed wire and I'm protecting her. And once that was explained that way, then his sister was like, oh, okay, I get it now. But it's amazing, like we were talking about earlier, it's amazing how things are interpreted. And sometimes you interpret them wrong. Well, let's see. It's starting to come together. I've got that video rendering right now, and I think when this video is done rendering for my sweet pepper jelly, which I'll schedule that probably as a premiere. And then on the 19th, I think it is, I've got the premiere of my sweet onion jam. So good. And of course, this is all stuff I can't have now. In moderation. I'll have it in moderation. Little bit here, little bit there, but not until, I found something on Papa Jim's finger. Not until I get my sugars under control. Then maybe I will allow myself something. All of Papa Jim's wrinkles showed up, but I'm really glad that his scars didn't show up too much. He works so hard. His hands have so many scars on them, but I'm glad they didn't show. But my hand looks like a mess. But I think, and see, my sandpaper is really, where's my camera? There it is. It's really getting down to the end of the nitty gritty. But I'm afraid now if I start with a fresh piece, I might go down too far. And at this point, I'm probably just talking to myself. Oh, there's 5 people in here. I look a fright. And it says there's 5 of you in here. I wonder if Nightbot is included in that number. Look, there's my little hand. Look at this. There's my hand right there, and there's my hand right there. That's how I held it. I think this was one of the neatest things we've ever done. Hi, Dana. I'm glad. My phone only says 1 person's here, but the laptop says 5. So I'm glad you're here. How's the baby doing, Biddy? Dana. How's our baby doing? I wanted to send him something, but you didn't have an address on your about. So now it won't be a surprise because I'm going to have to ask you for your address because I do have something for baby. So when you get a chance, love, if you'll go into my about and get my email address, if you'll email me, I wanted to send him something. And it'll be for when he comes home. So please do that for me. Only if you want to. I don't want to intrude too much. It's something I wanted him to have. Oh, goodness. I'm surprised I actually got some activity and had the chance to talk to some of you tonight. I didn't think anybody would come on. But you know, this is one of those things. I think people like hearing the sound. It's like an ASMR thing, like seeing the process. And I was thinking the other day, my craft room is a mess. It's such a mess. I thought I should just set the camera up and go live, and people can just watch me clean my craft room. I bet you they'd get a kick out of watching me sort all the different colors of yarn and take the yarn from the skeins of yarn and roll them into the cakes of yarn and get them all set up by color. And I am going to be doing some videos of painting the barn quilts. If anybody has seen the barn quilt that I'm painting out on my corn crib, it's a 10-foot by 10-foot barn quilt. But I'm going to be doing some 12-inch by 12-inch barn quilts here in the house this winter. And I'll set the camera up so they can be viewed. And I'm going to paint barn quilts and then I'll sell them. So they're kind of cool. So baby is gaining weight. He weighs 3 pounds, 10 ounces now. Oh, so wonderful. They're supposed to take the drain tube out from his heart in a couple of days. Then if he does good, his mommy gets to go stay with him for a few days. And if he continues, he will be home by Thanksgiving. Oh, that's wonderful news, Dana. That is wonderful news. You know, my little one wasn't that small. He was 5.5 pounds, but he was the size of the 4-pounders. And he was in the NICU. And he was my only baby that I had to leave at the hospital. So I've had a baby in the NICU. I've had a baby hooked up to all kinds of little machines. Didn't have to have heart surgery, but his liver wasn't working. And so he just kept getting worse and worse. And they actually took us in a room one day and counseled us on death. And that just scared me to no end. But he came through just fine. And I know your little guy is going to come through just fine. But I know what it's like to be a young mommy and have to leave your baby at the hospital. It's gut-wrenching. And so I feel for your daughter. And I know there are a lot of different elements to that. I've been in on some of your lives, and I see your frustration and sense your frustration on a lot of that. I won't go into detail here. It's not my story to tell, but I understand. I understand, and it is not easy being a mother-in-law sometimes when you've got situations like that. Not that I've had that particular situation. They're supposed to, I already read that one. He was 3 pounds, 1 ounce when he was born and 18 inches long. Yeah, Cameron. I was wondering, I thought, Cammy. I thought for a minute you were talking about his mother because I can't remember her name. I thought, oh, so she was a preemie too, but Cameron. Yes. He's going to be just fine, that little peanut. And he looks like he's an old soul. I'm so interested to see, as the days go by, what kind of neat things that little guy comes up with to keep you guys on your toes. What do you think, guys? It's starting to come together. You know what I didn't notice before I put my hand in the mold? This nail was broken, so it's kind of concave, but that's the neat thing about this stuff is I've just kind of filed it straight. I did my nails on here. Straightened it out a little bit. But I think it's almost to where I can think I can might maybe be happy with it. And then I'll be able to do my video. Well, guys, I'm going to go 4 more minutes because that will put me at 1 o'clock. I think I started around midnight. So I know that my other video is, my phone's acting up. What's happening here? I can't read anything that anybody's saying. Oh, I closed it out accidentally. Dang it. There we go. I know my video is done rendering. This is one thing I'm trying to figure out what to do, though. The base. Now, our hands were supposed to be in, like, to here. Where's that? You know, it was supposed to have, like, part of our forearm, but we really only got up to our wrist. But I've got some cleanup to do on here. This is kind of janky. Let's see if I can hold it. Right here. This is all kind of janky. I need to clean all of this edge up really nice and smooth. And I just don't want to drop it, you know. And I don't know how easily, and I don't know how loud that is. How loud is that coming through? It's looking good. Thank you. Amanda is Mom's name. I'll try to remember that. I have a daughter-in-law named Amanda. And matter of fact, when I was expecting Dana, I wanted to name my first little girl Amanda, but I had a boy. But I wanted to name my daughter Amanda Lynn. I just thought that had such a nice ring to it, Amanda Lynn. And then somebody said, why are you going to name your baby after a guitar? I said, what are you talking about? And they said, a mandolin is a little guitar. It's a little string instrument. A mandolin. I was like, oh, for Pete's sake. So, lucky for that baby. Lucky for that baby, it ended up being a James Paul, not a mandolin. We had a family that named their daughter Brooklyn. And it's like, aren't you thinking about Brooklyn? But I'll tell you what, ever since that was brought to my attention, I really tried to be careful. When I named my kids, I tried to take into consideration their initials, what their monograms would be. Wanted to make sure I didn't do anything that was going to cause them any grief as they were growing up. My first name is Alicia, starts with an A. My middle name is Sue, starts with an S. I was always worried that I would marry somebody named Smith and my initials would be ASS. But my maiden name was with a T, and I married a boy with a T, so my initials stayed the same. But when I was expecting one of my kids, I thought, oh, Bethany Lynn would be pretty, but then they would be a BLT. So I didn't do that either. See, that's what you thought too, huh, Dana? Mandolin. Oh, we learn little things about names, don't we? I wanted to name my last boy Justinian. Or no, let me take that back. I wanted to name my last boy Josiah. And my husband said, absolutely not. We're not naming that baby Josiah. And I said, Josiah was a good king in the Bible. And we can call him Joe for short, kind of like your brother Joe. And he said, nope, not going to happen. So I named him Justin from Justinian, who was a scribe in the Old Testament. And now my husband will come home, he'll say, oh, this kid at work, blah, 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 Josiah. And I'm like, see? Nothing wrong with that name, Josiah. That kid got a name, Josiah. Why couldn't my kid got a name, Josiah? But now he's Justin. This edge is going to clean up pretty nice. So Dana, I noticed the other day you put, I think it was 6 days ago or something, and I'm sorry I missed it. Because like I said, I haven't been feeling well, but you said you weren't going to go live because you didn't want to bother people or something. I enjoy your lives. I enjoy when I catch them. You're always, you're always hospitable and friendly and kind. And if people can't handle what's going on right now, well, that's on them. I think it's a wonderful avenue for you. Tiny Tim, just my observation, what I see in this is just like you are in the hollow of God's hand. Oh my gosh, I'm going to cry. Your husband's love wraps around you in tender love. Gosh dang it. Tim, that's beautiful. I'm going to look at these completely different now. I really like that. That's wonderful. I'm going to try to save that. I'm going to try to screenshot that somehow. I think if I can screenshot that or write it down, I might even see if I can get a little bit of wouldn't it be nice to have just a little plaque? Or maybe you know what I'll do? I'm going to write it on the bottom, Tim. I'm going to write that on the bottom. My husband's love wraps around me in tender love, and we're in the hollow of God's hand. Wow, that's deep. Tim, are you always this deep? That's amazing. Oh my gosh, you know what I just noticed? Look, okay, once I clean this up, it's gonna take a different shape, but look, it's a heart. Once I clean this edge off, because it's got this edge hanging over funky. Once I clean that edge, that's gonna be a heart. And if it's not too visible, I might even take a black Sharpie and outline the heart and then write that quote in there, Tim. Ooh, I love how this is coming together. Didn't want to step on another person's toes that was live at the same time. I understand that. I do. There's just not enough hours in the day. There's just not enough hours in the day. That's why I don't know if you've been able to see any of my quickies that I do on Monday nights. I had to schedule those for 9:30 Central because there were just so many lives and I didn't want to step on anybody else's toes. So I get it. I get it. But now I find that there are lives before mine that people aren't getting out of to come over to mine. I might have to rethink it. I don't know. We'll get you in for a quickie, Dana. I'd love to have you. We'll get you in there. I have a lot of fun with those, and I love the innuendo. You know what? I said 8 minutes ago I was going to go 4 minutes. I tend to be deep. I was so shy, so I think deep. Yeah, when you're shy, I think, when you're a little bit more introverted, maybe, you tend to really get caught up in your thoughts like that. Ooh, look at the dust. But that was really beautiful. I am going to write that on the bottom of this. I really, really liked how that came out. All right, guys, look at my hands are all. I think it looks 1,000,000% better than it did when I started. I want to get a little wooden disc to put it on that's almost like a little lazy Susan, so I can turn it any way I want as it's sitting on our wardrobe. I'm not wearing a ring. Did you notice that? Papa Jim has a silicone ring because he's a mechanic, and we needed something that would break away in case his hand got caught. And when he wore a gold wedding ring, he did get his hand caught one time. And we've met people in the automotive industry that, this finger's missing because they get their hand caught up in an engine compartment or something and they end up losing their finger. So he has a silicone band. But I had a band on when I went in for my last surgery, and I took it off for surgery and I just never put it back on because my hands were swollen. and then I just never put it back on. So, and I didn't know what this medium that we were going to put our hands in. I just wasn't sure what it was going to do, so I didn't go dig it out and put it back on. But sometimes I just wear like costume jewelry. But I know I'm married in my heart. I don't need it. I don't need to adorn my finger because my heart is where the love is. But I do like pretty stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. But buy me something fun for my kitchen instead of jewelry. I'll be happy. Jewelry, flowers, don't need it. Papa Jim got me that new canner, and boy, do I love that new canner. I just did another 4 quarts of potatoes today, and I've done 20 quarts of French onion soup in that new canner. It's so handy. I love it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to check my video that's been rendering, and I'm going to go to bed, go snuggle up with Papa Jim. You've written poems and songs, Tim. I think that's wonderful. Ooh, you should do a video. If you haven't, you should do a video of some of your poems. I've got a couple poems put away, but you know what? They're kind of like, I don't know. They were poems written in a time of desperation when I was like PMSing or something. Back when I thought somebody didn't understand me, so I need to write about it. Oh, I don't know, but I would love to hear some. On my quote above, I think the last word, love, should be embrace. You know what, Tim? I'd love for you to, like, my email's in my about. If you'll write it up the way it is in your heart and how you think it should be, I'd love it if you'd send it to me so I can make sure that I get the sentiment exact. And I promise you I'll write it on the bottom of these hands. In God's embrace, is that what you're saying, instead of embraced in God's hands? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. All right, Dana, Tim, and anybody else that's still with me. I'm going to tilt the camera up so I can say goodnight proper. Still says there's 5. I don't know who else in here. I know one of them is me. No, last word. Email me, Tim. Maybe it's because I'm tired and I'm not following. I don't know. But I'd love to add that sentiment to this piece. There she is. I'm still going to work on getting this lip down a little bit so it makes the heart on the bottom. Which way do you go? There it is. There's the heart. Do. Thank you. I would love it if you'd email. So there it is. I think I'm going to stop. I do have in between the thumbs here. Let's see. Right here in between the thumbs, there's some little pieces, little divots, but I've got a stick. They send you an orange wood stick. I'll get in there with the orange wood stick and get the little bubbles out of there. But I think it's pretty much looking pretty nice. Isn't that nice? This would be a really good gift, guys, if you know somebody that is having an anniversary coming up, or a wedding. It'd be a great gift for a bride and a groom. Engagement. Oh, I found something on my fingernail. Okay, Jim's fingernail. You know, it would be really neat, Dana. This would be really good for when little Cameron comes home. What's really neat is the parents can take their hands and they put their hands just around the baby's foot, and they put their hands down in the medium with the baby's foot, and do a cast of them holding the baby's foot. I think that would be sweet. Okay, Biddy. Dana. All right, so Tim, I expect an email from you. Thank you so much for those beautiful words. I will look forward to that. And Dana, I look forward to an email from you. And it did snow here yesterday, and the weather's kind of yucky. But the next time I can make it out to the mailbox, I'm going to send something for the baby, okay? It's in my, on YouTube, in my About section. If you read my bio at the bottom, there should be an email there. Or just countrymamamusings@gmail.com. All right. I will, and actually, I think in this description for this live, it says Bella Luna or Luna Bella. It says it in the description. The name of the kit that I got, and we got it on Amazon. I think it was like $40 or something. Luna Bella, I think it's in this description for this. And then when I do my video where I show you how we did it, I will definitely put all of the information, and I'll even put an Amazon link. So give me a few days and I'll see about getting that up. All right, guys. All right. I keep saying good night, but I don't go away. Just like a bad case of something, huh? All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. We'll talk to everybody later. Good night.